Believe it or not, even as a full-time producer, my time in the day for writing tunes is actually pretty limited. So today I'm going to show you how I get the most out of my day and make sure that I'm always writing bangers. Hey guys, Dilby here. Welcome back to the channel. So today I'm going to share with you my morning routine, the way I get my day started and how it helps me to be productive and creative in the studio. Starting the day right really sets me up to get the most from it and make sure that I'm enjoying what I do. So let's get into it. I get up early. I definitely wouldn't describe myself as a morning person. My tendency has always been to stay up late and get up late. But since having a kid, this early morning routine was kind of reluctantly thrust upon me. However, I have realized it's hugely beneficial for my productivity, my creativity, and my life in general. I'm converted. I'm now convinced that we as humans function better with an early start, whether we like it or not. My routine really starts the night before, and I've come to realize that how well my day goes is largely determined by how well I slept the night before. My mood, energy, creativity, and cognitive ability are all so much better when I'm well rested. It seems pretty obvious now, but for most of my adult life, sleep hasn't been a priority. But based on the way that it makes me feel and makes me perform, I really wish I'd implemented that earlier. I practice intermittent fasting, which basically means you delay your first meal till later in the day. I'm not going to get into the benefits or the pros and cons here. There's so much information out there on the internet, so check it out if you're interested. First things first, it's time to get hydrated. It's really important to get some electrolytes, magnesium, potassium, and sodium early in the morning, which is going to help your brain and body start functioning and start firing on all cylinders. Because I don't eat breakfast, I'm not getting that from food, so I use a supplement which I mix in with my water. I will say, from a practical sense, fasting saves me time in the morning as I'm not having to prepare that breakfast, and I find that delaying my first meal helps me to feel alert and focused early in the day when I'm doing my main creative work. Like everyone, I'm addicted to dopamine. I need that hit, but I try to delay looking at my phone or social media until later. No calls, text, comments, emails, WhatsApp, anything. The reason being is I don't want to fill my mind with all of these little things that are going to try and take precedence in my subconscious when I'm trying to be creative. Because of the level of connectivity and availability and onlineness that we have in our daily lives, this can feel uncomfortable at first. But honestly, leaving this stuff for a few hours isn't going to hurt anyone. It's going to pay dividends in the studio. Coffee. Like most people, I'm a caffeine fiend, but these days I delay my caffeine intake until a few hours after I've woken up. This was a really hard adjustment to make, and I was definitely the guy running for the coffee pot before my eyes were even open. But delaying this caffeine intake gives my body the chance to start a bunch of hormonal processes that caffeine actually blocks. This can avoid problems getting to sleep at night and really helps to avoid that caffeine crash that can happen later in the afternoon. Shout out to Andrew Huberman for this gold nugget of knowledge. I definitely recommend you check out his amazing podcast. Stretching is another habit I wish I'd found earlier in life. It's hugely beneficial. It helps me to wake up and feel better throughout the day. Like most of us, I'm sitting at a desk for a good part of the day, which really isn't good for the human body, but stretching does help. Now it's time to get myself fresh, clean, and ready for the day. I also have a young son who I get ready in the morning and take to daycare, so time is tight and I try to be as efficient as possible, but sometimes kids have other ideas. I ride my bike to the studio every day, rain or shine, even snow. It's about a 25-minute ride, but I also drop my son at daycare on the way. I love my morning ride, and I really miss it if I can't do it for some reason. It really wakes me up and helps get the blood pumping. It also means by default, I'm getting in a good amount of cardio every day. After I drop off my son, I chuck on an audiobook or a podcast for the rest of the ride. It helps get my brain started for the day and makes good use of the time on my commute. After arriving at the studio, the first thing I do is start with a 10-minute mindfulness meditation. This is your traditional focus meditation where I'm focusing on my breath and trying to block out other thoughts that may come into my head. I actually used to do guided meditations, but I came to learn that a focus meditation like this is actually really beneficial for the work I do, which requires a lot of focus. I'm not going to lie, practicing meditation was a bit overwhelming when I first started, but something that really helped me is the idea that every time my mind wanders, by coming back to my breath, I'm training myself to refocus, which is hugely beneficial for my work. In the end, I'm not trying to levitate, I'm just trying to stay focused while writing tunes. Next, it's coffee time, finally. This is one of my favorite parts of the day, getting that caffeine fix. I've got a cheap and easy espresso machine which uses pads instead of the plastic capsules, which are terrible for the environment. Fuck you, George Clooney. The coffee's about a 5 out of 10, but it does the trick. I schedule my day by blocking out chunks of time and allocating a task that I should be focusing on. This is not super rigid, it's a flexible schedule for the day and just a guide as to what I should be doing at what time. If other things come up, no biggie, I just readjust accordingly. But it does keep me accountable and focused on my work and helps me to avoid wasting time on social media and the internet. I actually implemented this after reading an amazing book called Deep Work by Cal Newport. I recommend every music producer should read this book. I split my morning into 2 creative work sessions, each one for an hour and a half. Sometimes it's 3 sessions of 1 hour, but usually an hour and a half. This might be working on a new sketch, progressing something further, doing an arrangement, doing a mix down, but whatever it is, I'm working towards finishing a track. I like to set a little goal or intention at the start of the session to formalize for myself what I plan to achieve during this time. And I actually put a timer on my phone for these sessions, which gives me a sense of urgency and helps me to stay focused during the time. It ensures I'm being productive and working towards finishing tracks. After session 1, I'll have a small break, go for a walk, grab another coffee, and then get into session 2. Session 2 is the same as session 1. After I've done these creative sessions, I get on with the rest of the things I need to get done in the day. Emails, mixing and mastering, hunting for tunes, planning, recording, editing YouTube videos, other stuff. Honestly, I have a lot of other things to do in the day that aren't producing tunes, but I really try to set myself up to get the most out of the time that I do have. I really hope you found this useful, and feel free to share your tips in the comments. And if you're looking for something else to watch next, check this out. Alright, well that's it from me today. We'll catch you next time. Peace!